Share screen.
Is everything okay over there?
Yeah. My computer is a bit lagging.
I see.
Stuck. Ecology.
Okay.
This one. Is it? Okay.
All right. Shall I start?
Yep, of course you can.
All right. So, good afternoon to Architect Paris and my fellow course mates. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to our presentation today. Before we start, let me introduce you to our group. My name is Benjamin, and two of my classmates are Tariq and Yusuf. So, the topic we'll be discussing today includes the ecology in the United States and Malaysia. And we have the history and politics of the United States and Malaysia. Now, first, let's talk about ecology. So, now, in ecology, you might wonder, what is ecology, right? Firstly, ecology is, hold on, this slide is not moving, Tariq. All right, so ecology is the study of the relationship between all living things and the physical environment. And the purpose of this study is to help us understand, to help us how organisms, including us humans, interact with surrounding, as well as to help us explore the complexity behind being. Now, in our previous presentation about the climate, we mentioned that the United States possesses a wide range of ecological because this is because of diverse climate, diverse geological. Let's talk about diversity in climate in the So, the United States consists of a large land area stretching from the equator to the right. And this climate, the climate in each state vary from one region to another because of its different latitude. So the main climate you can find in the state climate, subtropical climate, desert, Mediterranean, temperate climate, humid continental, and and, and in climate, different organisms, including flora, fauna, can thrive. So meaning all of these different species can thrive under different climatic conditions due to the temperature and also. So here you can see at the States, we can sort of separate few different regions. We have the Great Plains, we have the Lower Midwest, we have the coast, sort of the area near North Park, then Alaska, West, and we have also the Southwestern. Now, all of these maps to show you in our second presentation. So now let me pass this presentation to our next presenter. Sorry.
Okay. Hi and good afternoon to Architect Haris and my fellow classmates. I'm Tariq and the ecology in the desert climate of the United States. This image shows the major deserts of the United States. The ecology in the desert climate of the United States consists of floras such as pancake prickly, pear cactus, barrel cactus, hedgehog cactus, brittle bush, creosote bush, and desert ironwood plant. The faunas in the desert climate of the United States consist of camels, coyote, armadillo, iguana, Mojave rattlesnakes, Cooper's hawks, brown pelicans, ostrich, Canop amber snails, fire ants, and tarantulas. Moving on to the ecology in the temperate and continental climate of the United States. This image shows the deciduous forests and the White River National Forest that can be found in the United States. The ecology in the temperate and continental climate of the United States consists of flora such as lichen, moss, ferns, wildflowers, maple, oak, birch, magnolia, sweet gum, and beech. The faunas in the temperate and continental climate of the United States consist of American black bear, cougar, red panda, chipmunks, bison, European hedgehog, acanthus, red-tailed hog, lizards, frogs, monarch butterfly, and centipede, and also cicada. I will now pass the presentation to Yusuf for him to continue with the next part of the presentation.
Thank you, Tariq. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be talking about the ecology in the oceanic climate. All right, so we go back, Tariq. So over here, you're seeing the oceanic climate in the United States, like so by the ocean. It consists of flora and fauna. Flora will be spruce, pine, cedar, birch, beech, and oak. And fauna will be rabbits, roe deer, partridges, marmots, wild boar, and foxes. I'll also be talking about the ecology in the Mediterranean climate in the United States. So as you can see, the Mediterranean climate, there's lots of greenery around, lots of trees and lots of mountains and hills. It consists also of flora and fauna. The flora will be rock porcelain, Yangai ichigo, Chinese driga, anchor plant, Canary Island foxglove, bugle lily, kangaroo apple, and the fauna will be Liberian lynx, Barbarian macaque, Spanish imperial eagle, Moorish gecko, Liberian ribbed newt. Okay, and I will be passing it back to Benjamin for the next part.
All right, thank you, Yusuf. So, hi everyone, it's me again. So now I'll be presenting the tropical and subtropical climates in the United States. So basically, we group tropical and subtropical together because they are largely similar in that they both contain roughly the same types of species of animals and plants. So in terms of flora, we have epiphytes, we have orchids, Amazon water lily, rubber tree, strangle figs, hibiscus, corpse flower, we have acai plums, rattan palms, pitcher plant, Helisonia, durian, mahogany, and more. So these plants we actually can find here in Malaysia. And now for faunas, most of which we can also find here in Malaysia are gorillas, apes, tapir, orangutans, jaguar, macaw, hornbills, toucans, poison dart frogs, lemurs, anacondas, hummingbirds, piranhas, boas, morpho, Amazon river dolphins, and more. So fun fact, tropical rainforests are actually considered the most ecologically diverse forests. A prime example of this is actually Amazon rainforest, which is home to countless floras and faunas, actually the most number of animal species in one forest. So that is located in South American continent. That's actually in Brazil. Now, let me talk about some additional facts about the ecology in the United States. So previously we mentioned a few floras and faunas in the United States where they actually survive in the desert climate, right? Tariq, I think we can move on to the next slide. All right, so now here are some interesting facts, right? So for desert climate, most desert plants are actually less reliant on water for their survival, which is why they thrive in desert climate, right? Because in desert, you get less water, you get overall less nutrients from the soil. So these plants can actually store more water and then they can sort of generate more energy for themselves through sunlight exposure. So from photosynthesis, they can produce more food from themselves. In fact, a few cactuses, they're actually considered as fruits by certain cultures because the entire cactus itself, it sort of, how do I say, they themselves produce food from themselves, like many other plants, but cactus more than others. And also animals that survive in the deserts, they mainly have thick skins and scales. So like we mentioned before, some animals include, we have coyote, we have armadillo, iguana, rattlesnakes. Those animals all have really thick skins. And also they can insulate them from extreme heat in the desert. And also, these animals can also stay hydrated for a longer period without needing a constant supply of water. Now, some animals actually migrate due to seasonal changes, specifically animals in the temperate, continental, Mediterranean, and oceanic climates. So these animals include monarch butterfly, we have blue whale, sandhill crane, humpback whale, wild beast, gray whale, hummingbird, Canadian goose, pronghorn, and snow goose. So these animals actually migrate during or before seasonal transitions when temperature and precipitation begin to change. This is in effort to sort of find a conducive living environment for themselves, as well as to find a more sort of more, how do I say this? A more abundant food source so that they can acquire more food for themselves in a different location. Now, there are also other types of animals. These animals hibernate during winter seasons. These animals include bats, bears, bumblebees, box turtles, chipmunks, marmots, deer mice, prairie dogs, geckos, brown squirrels, brown hogs, and hedgehogs. And these animals hibernate to conserve their energy during cold winters where temperature gets too cold for them to carry out their daily activities. So this also benefits them when there is a lack of food for source. So unlike most, most cartoons and movies depicting how animals hibernate, they don't actually sleep throughout the entire winter. They sleep more during the winter, and before the winter, they actually try to hunt for more food. They gather more food resource and water to sort of be able to last them throughout the entire winter. And it's inevitable that those food sources won't be enough for the entire winter. So that's why they actually gather as much as they could, but since it's not enough, they have to rest more to conserve energy. So during the winter, they'll sleep more and they'll eat less to help them survive throughout the entire winter. And also, similar to climate, geological factors may also contribute to the diversity in fauna in the US. Like in the Rocky Mountains, we have different types of plants that can survive in the cold. We have the seaside where you can see those palms, you can see coconut trees, those plants that you normally find in beaches. All right. And let me talk about some, hold on. Yes. So let me talk about some geological features in the US that can possibly influence the diversity in ecology. So here we have mountain regions. These are sort of some examples are the Alaska Range, and we also have Cascade Range. So some of the animals you can find here in mountainous regions include snow leopard, Andean condor, chamois, ibex, mountain goat, mountain gorilla, chinchillas, alpine marmot, lynx, golden eagle, and more. And near the coastal regions, for example, we have Coronado Beach or Coast Guard Beach in Cape Cod. Now, these beaches, we can find sea turtles, pelicans, albatrosses, plover, hermit crabs, shell ducks, herons, seals, betoids, coots, orcas, gray seals, and more. So these are basically all the animals you can see in beaches, even in Malaysia. Now, let me pass my presentation back to Tariq.
Hi guys, so we'll be talking about the ecology in Malaysia. As you can see, this map shows the general regions of Malaysia. We have Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah and Sarawak. Malaysia is located along the equator. Malaysia can be in the tropical climate. The tropical rainforest in Malaysia is similar to the ones found in the southern parts of the United States. The flora and faunas are largely the same. The floras consist of Amazon water lily, orchids, rubber tree, hibiscus, corpse flower, carnauba palm, rattan palm, tualang, bougainvillea, heliconia, durian, and Indian timber bamboo. And also kapok. The fauna consists of Malayan tapir, apes, orangutans, jaguar, macaw, hornbills, poison dart frogs, anteaters, kinkajou, hummingbirds, piranhas, and boas, and also morpho and siamang. So moving on to the comparison between the ecology in the United States and Malaysia. The ecology of the United States and Malaysia are the tropical rainforests at the equator, which is the southern part of the United States, mainly in the state of Florida, and the same climate and similar ecological features in the tropical regions. The differences between the ecology of the United States and Malaysia are the variation of climate, one type of climate, while in the United States there are 7 main climates. In Malaysia, the animals include mainly inland and coastal animals, while in the United States there are inland, coastal, and mountain animals. In Malaysia, the flora and fauna are centered around tropical rainforest organisms, while in the United States, the diversity of flora and fauna due to the presence of multiple climates at different latitudes. In Malaysia, there is no hibernation or migration of animals, while in the United States, hibernation and migration occur for certain types of animals. In Malaysia, organisms do not need to adapt to seasonal changes throughout the year, while in the United States, most organisms are and subtropical regions must be able to adapt to seasonal changes such as extreme temperature, changes in precipitation, drought, daylight saving. In Malaysia, the biodiversity index of Malaysia is 0.324, while the United States has a biodiversity index of 0.406. I will now pass back to Yusuf for him to continue with the next part of the presentation.
All right. So in the next part, we'll be talking about the government and political system of the United States of America. First off, like I'm gonna start talking about probably the most important event in the history of the U.S., which is the Declaration of Independence, where the Continental Congress appointed a committee of John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Robert and George. We go back to please. And George Sherman on June 10 of 1776 to create a statement proclaiming the 13 colonies resolved to declare their independence from the British invasion. The committee presented a revised version to the Continental Congress on July 2nd, and the Congress redrafted it before adopting the final version on July 4th, 1776. Mr. Jefferson penned the original draft. The committee presented the revised version to the Continental Congress on July 2nd, and the Congress redrafted it before adopting the final version on July 4th, 1776. That declaration received significant signatures from delegates from each colony in the month that followed. And after talking about the Declaration of the Independence, we're going to talk about the Constitution of the United States. The United States Constitution is a monument of imaginative statesmanship and practical compromise, the result of which is the result of many minds. The scholarly framers used historical analogies from ancient civilizations like Athens, their personal experiences with the British and colonial models of governance, and of modern jurists like Montesquieu in building a new constitutional order. And in the new constitutional order, also it separated the power where there is a president and his political parties. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that part. And now we're going to talk about the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments of the Constitution were revised so that in order to, because the U.S. is run as a democratic country, so that everyone gets to keep his right. So the first one is religion, freedom of speech, the press assembly, and petitioning are all protected rights. In order to maintain a well-regulated, and the second one, in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, citizens have the right to keep and carry arms, so the right to bear arms. The third one, soldiers are not to be quartered. The fourth one, the right to be free from unwarranted searches and seizures. So the police can just pop in any time and just look in your house. They have to have what's it called? Okay, anyways. The fifth one, everyone has a right to a fair trial, immunity from self-incrimination, and double jeopardy. The sixth one, accused persons' rights, such as the right to a speedy and public trial. So everyone has the right for a fair trial. And the seventh one, the right to a jury trial in civil proceedings. The eighth one, no excessive bail and no harsh, unusual penalties. Ninth one, other people who are not U.S. citizens also have rights and they get to keep them. And the 10th one, finally, all the power is resolved in the states. The states, that means the states have the power at the end of the day. Okay, and right over here, you're seeing a picture of the first bank established in the United States of America. It was called what is the name of that bank? It was headquartered in Philadelphia in 1791 at the urging of Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. Okay. And next, we'll be comparing the government of the United States to the government of Malaysia. Both the United States and Malaysia were colonized by the British at a point in their history, and both declared their independence from the British colonization in the years 1776 and 1957, respectively. Now, while USA Constitution helps protect the country from foreign invaders and help divide the power in the country, to the president and his political parties, the federal constitution in Malaysia, however, is the country's supreme law, and it's based on the Federation of the Malaysia Constitution of 1957. It establishes Malaysia as a constitutional monarchy. That means there's a king and a prime minister, with the Yang Diu Agung as the head of the state, with a mostly ceremonial role, as previously stated. The first bank in the U.S. The U.S. opened back in 1791, while in Malaysia, the first bank opened in 1875, and it was called the Standard Chartered Bank. And I believe I have a picture of it. Here you go. Okay, and now I'll pass it back to Benjamin.
All right, thank you, Yusuf. So now let us move on to our question and answering session. So let me ask you about our first question. How many climates does Malaysia have? Can anyone answer that? It's a very simple question. Come on, anyone?
Very simple.
Yes, exactly, very simple. Hello.
Guys,
Come on, guys. We're literally in Malaysia right now, right?
Yeah, I believe they also have same slides like you.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has the same research, so you guys should know, right?
not to
Come on, guys. Someone?
One only?
Yes. One? Is it one?
Me.
All right.
Since nobody
Architect
else,
Faris
I try.
says. All right. Architect Faris says one. That's right. That's one. Yay.
Mhm.
Let's give Architect Faris a clap. Thank you. All right. So the next question. Who's gonna ask the next question?
What is ecology?
Tariq, you want to take over?
What is the definition of ecology? Anyone? Anyone?
Maybe like it's like the branch of biology that deals with the relations of organisms to one another. Is that correct?
Is that right?
Let's see. Study of relationship between organisms and physical environment. Okay, somewhat correct.
Yep.
I mean, pretty similar actually. So great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
Good job.
third question. What are the two floras that can be found in the desert climate of the United States?
Two floras that can be found in the desert climate of the United States.
Anyone guess?
Prickly pear. Cactus.
Oh, okay. Okay, Faris already named two. So are they in there?
Prickly pear.
Yes.
Yes, those are correct. Great job. Thank you, Architect Faris. All right, thank you, Sharpen, for answering as well. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Okay, so
I think we rotate for the next group to present the ecology, and after that we come back to you guys to present the last one, the last topic. We have two topics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we rotate the topic. Now we go to the second group and third group, and then we come back to you for the final topic. All right.
All right, sir. All right, sir.
Good. So well done to group Benjamin. Your presentation is not too long, but good enough. I wish there are more pictures, to we are learning something about so many things. More pictures would be best to memorize.
all right, sir. Understood. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. Let's go to the next group. You want me to choose for you again? So I choose Xiaopan's group. You guys ready?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, so
Second.
yeah, you can start.
Okay. So can you guys see the slides? Okay.
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
1 second now. Okay. Good day, so Faris and my friends. I'm Chua, and my teammate is Fabian. So I'm now present the ecology for this topic, and my teammate Fabian will be present the next topic. So this topic is the balancing of nature, which is the ecology, flora, and fauna. And we can know that ecology is the totality and the pattern of relation between organism and their environment. Also can know as the study of how organisms interact with one another and with their physical environment. So the comparison, I'm talking about, I pick about the Malaysia and UK, and the comparison of the ecosystem of these both country is, our Malaysia is tropical rainforest ecosystem, which is the oldest and the rich in biodiversity. And I'm picking about specific in Sabah and Sarawak, but also we got the forest in Pahang, Terengganu, and also Kelantan. And for the United Kingdom is the temperate deciduous forest ecosystem, which is the woodland more in north and west side. So let's first talk about Malaysia. Due to Malaysia is located near the equator, Malaysia's climate is categorized as equatorial. It is hot and humid throughout the year, and because Malaysia is exposed to the El Nino effect, which is reduced rainfall in the dry season. And the characteristic of vegetation of Malaysia is dense and also evergreen rainforest. Rainforest is still cover more than 2/5 of peninsula and also 2/3 of Sarawak and Sabah. And what we have for the significant flora and fauna in Malaysia, that we can find Malayan tiger, Malayan tapir, lesser mouse deer, Malayan pangolin, robuscus monkey, rhinoceros hornbill, and many more. For the plants also we got Rafflesia, large leaf pitcher plants, hibiscus, and Ixora, Firmana malayana, elephant ears, fish tail palm, and many more. So as we can see, the pictures of the animals and plants over the site, which is a unique natural heritage that evolved over 130 million years, that resulting in a very rich flora and fauna. Then the next is United Kingdom. And what type of ecosystem is the UK in? For UK, the country has 4 mainland-based ecosystem, which is heathland, moorland, wetland, and woodland, and which make UK rich in biodiversity. We take out the woodland to say is the temperate deciduous forest. And as we know, UK has a temperate climate. In general, this means that Britain get cool, wet winters and also wet summer. Most native woodland in UK are deciduous, which means trees lose their leaves in the autumn. And also, for example, native tree to the UK include oak, ash, and also beech. The majority of coniferous woodland in the UK are commercial forests where trees are grown for timber. Woodlands in UK are home to a diverse range of species of animal, including fox, badgers, and also gray squirrel. They also provide habitat for birds such as owl and woodpecker. Temperate deciduous forest is a biome that is always changing, and it has 4 distinct seasons: winter, spring, summer, and also autumn. The forests get between 30 and 60 inches of precipitation a year. It provides rich biodiversity, such as badgers, otters, fox, kingfishers, peregrine falcon, adders, water voles, bats, and many more. For plants, it has also rose, major oak, granny pine, fortingal yew, and parents' lunch. Next one is for woodland, the others of wildlife-rich wetlands. The rain-drenched lands of the UK offers a perfect condition for the formation of wetland. This place of water and dry land makes home to a wide range of species, from dragonflies and dam shellfish to wilding curlew and snipe, from the carnivorous plant to the feeding butterflies. And for the heathland and moorland, the upland of heathland and moorland occurs in hilly areas such as Dartmoor, parts of Wales, and the Pennines, and across Scotland. Most lowland heathland occurs in a place like New Forest, part of East Anglia, Surrey, and scattered pockets in other areas, often with sandy individual soils. Why is the ecosystem biodiversity is so important to us? The organisms that live together in a species in a specific environment are called communities. For example, forests, grassland, rivers, lakes, and other specific areas that have specific organisms living together there. These multiple organisms living there are called communities, and they interact with the surrounding inorganic environment as connect into the unique ecosystem. It can be seen that ecosystems are also different and diverse. Various species provide humans with abundant food, fiber, and energy. They also provide humans with a complete range of medicinal material and sufficient industrial raw material. And this is the question: what type of forests that represent Malaysia and also UK? Anyone? This I know doesn't have marks, but better give some response. So
Yep.
Tropical rainforest.
yeah. And for the UK one?
Deciduous.
Yeah. Give it a clap. And question 2. Why biodiversity is so important to us? Hello, anyone?
I don't know.
Why biodiversity is so important to us? Because it provides so many important things to us, such like food, such like material that we use in our living life, in our real life.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all. Thank you.
Yep, thank you so much, Xiaopan. So, your team is siapa nama tadi? Fabian, right?
Fabian, I mean.
So he will present the other one.
Yeah, the other topic,
Yes, sir.
the more one.
All right, then let's move to the next group, the all girl group. Jessie Lim, sorry, Vida and I hope you don't forget to turn on your mic at the moment you are mute, Jessie.
Good afternoon, sirs and friends. I will pass it to Chen Wei. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir, and all my friends. So today, me, Vida, and JC are going to present about the balancing nature in Australia and Malaysia. So next, first I'm going to talk about the balance between human and plants. So in Australia is known for its unique global ecosystem, which is composed of diverse flora and fauna. Australia officially describes about 115,000 species, but this is only about 25% of the current total. Besides, many species such as insects remain largely undiscovered. Australia is considered one of the world's 17 mega-diverse countries, which together account for 70% of the world's biological diversity across less than 10% of the world's surface. Besides, Australia has an evolutionarily unique flora and fauna, including many endemics which have ancient lineages related to the Australian continent. Some of them are field species that have survived from ancient times. So here is some example. So for example is gymnosperms, which such as pencil pine. This plant was found in the form of standing shrub or trees, and it can live for upward for 1,000 years. And for the shape of the leaf is formed single vein and arranged in spirals. And the second example is Wormia nobilis. This plant was growing in a remote series of narrow, stick-sized sandstone gorges northwest of Sydney, and is legally protected in Australia. So next, for the threatened plants, if we're having 12 Australian plant species are thought to be extinct, another 21 may be extinct, and 206 are officially listed as critically endangered. Besides, many species have suffered major losses due to land reclamation, the introduction of exotic plants, animals, disease, and disruption of ecological processes such as fire patterns and floods. So for the example of threatened plants in Australia is the teal spider orchid in Tasmania. On average, national orchid population have declined by 72% between 1995 to 2017. And the second one is Pyridium fortis woodii. This plant was less than 50 wooden rows Pyridium shrub left on a roadside in South Australia. So next, how can we protect it? So we can protecting further loss of species habitat by not doing deforestation. And next, we can also safely experiment with appropriate fire management system, such as burning in areas where the fire has been suppressed. So in Malaysia, flora and fauna are under severe threat and have experienced a 70% depletion of original growth. Moreover, of the 1,600 plant species in Peninsular Malaysia accessed in the Malaysia Red List, a total of 567 plant species are listed as threatened plants. So the threatened plants in Malaysia is wildflower in Mulu National Park, Sarawak. So much of the flora is endemic to the area, which means that losing the part of a forest that threatens biodiversity. And the second example will the pitcher plants, which also known as Nepenthes microphylla. So that's all from me. Now I'm going to pass to Vida.
Is Vida there? Maybe is she on mute?
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Vida. Now you are mute. Okay, now not. Okay, but I can't hear. Hmm.
Hello?
Is the volume low?
Hello?
Yes. Yeah. Very slow. Very faint sound.
Hello?
Yes, listening.
Oh, okay. Sorry, sir. I think my internet. So, I will present the balance between human and animals in Malaysia and Australia.
Mhm.
So for Australia, Australia's biodiversity is important both globally and nationally. The biodiversity is defined as the variety of all living organisms on Earth at all levels of organization. So between 7 and 10% of all species on Earth occur in Australia. More than 4,500 species of marine fishes and the greatest number of species of red and brown algae, crustaceans, sea squirts, and bryozoans in the world live in Australian inshore waters. So, I will present Australia's contribution to the global status of major species groups. So, for their fauna, they have marine fish, one of the most diverse fish faunas in the world, with more than 4,500 species. Sharks and rays, 54% of the entire chondrichthyan fauna is endemic to Australia. So endemic means unique. Ectomycorrhizal fungi, 95% endemic. Terrestrial vertebrates, 1,350 endemic terrestrial vertebrates, far more than the next highest country. Then terrestrial mammals, 305 species, of which 258 are endemic. More than 50% of the world's marsupial taxa occur in Australia. They also have birds. 17% of the world's parrots occur in Australia, which more than 50 species. Second highest level of endemism after Brazil and the same as Colombia. Their species also have reptiles, 89% endemic. Some groups such as front-fanged snakes, pythons, and iguanas are more diverse than elsewhere in the world. Australian deserts have the world's highest diversity of lizard species. Frogs, which is 94% endemic in Australia, around 230 total species of amphibians in Australia, and marine invertebrates, 17.8% of the world's crustaceans, 22% of bryozoans, and 29.4% of sea squirts occur in Australian waters. And lastly, butterflies and moths. Many groups are unique to Australia. So some examples of the species in Australia: for marine fish, there's the red-finned blue-eye fish. For rays, there's the smooth stingray, fungi, tea-tree fingers. For terrestrial vertebrates, there's wily. Terrestrial mammals, monotrim. Birds, 40 spotted pardalote. For reptiles, an example is the western swamp tortoise. For frogs, southern corroboree frog. For marine invertebrates, there's the Tasmanian giant crab. And for butterflies, the purple copper butterfly. So, Australia and ecology. So according to the Parliament of Australia, humans affect the environment through the consumption of energy and resources, the discharge of wastes and pollutants, through the displacement of plants and animals, and the modification of natural ecosystems by agriculture, and through by cities, transport systems, and industry. For ecosystem services, natural and modified ecosystems provide humans with provisioning services such as water, food, fiber, biomass fuel, genetic resources. They also provide regulating services such as climate regulation, flood and drought mitigation, water purification, pollination, disease and pest regulation and control. They also have cultural services such as recreation, aesthetic values, and heritage. They also provide supporting services such as soil formation, nutrient cycling, and primary production. Modification of ecosystems can reduce the effectiveness and amount of the mentioned services. So, in the Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment in Australian government said in a 2004 article that many animal and plant species have been introduced into Australia for agriculture, for sport, and as pets, and some have been brought in without intention. Some introduced species now flourish in native ecosystems, causing a significant impact. Animals and plants introduced for agricultural activities contribute to the economic development of Australia. It can also cause significant damage to the ecology of natural environments. Some examples of the damage to the ecology of environments are livestock that has become established in the wild, such as rabbits, goats, cattle, degrade natural habitats by intensive or selective grazing. And then there's also animals with hard hooves compact the soil and prevent the regeneration of vegetation, thus contributing to erosion. Introduced predators are now widespread. They prey on ground-dwelling birds and mammals and various species of lizards, snakes, and rock wallabies. Without adequate control programs, these predators threaten the wild of endangered species. Marine organisms are transported into new areas in the ballast water of ships, which became the cause of the important species in the estuary area. Then major invasions changed the natural diversity and dynamics of ecological communities, threatening the survival of many plants and animals. So actually, Australia proposed a strategy where they control the population. And here's the data. In June 2010, the Australian government appointed a minister for sustainable population to develop a sustainable population strategy with respect for the environment and respect for the needs of Australian, requiring good infrastructure and services. But it was considered not readily possible, estimating the number of humans that Australia can support without damaging the natural environment. An increasing population will make it more difficult to meet environmental commitments. Population growth means that ways must be found to reduce individual carbon footprints. So there are several ecosystem issues in Australia that might not end. According to the World Wildlife Fund, there's deforestation. When forests are cut, the salinity of the soil can greatly increase. As a result, saline water draining from such areas can affect water quality. Agriculture clearing and overgrazing. It is one of the main pressures on the biodiversity in Australia. It promotes desertification and erosion. Overfishing and illegal fishing has decreased part of Australia's fish stocks to dangerously low levels. Some areas have low biological productivity and intensive fishing efforts by commercial fisheries. Another issue is the introduction of exotic species, as mentioned earlier. Then pollution, which is caused by intensive agriculture affecting Australia's coasts and oceans, and infrastructure development, increasing population displays the valuable biodiversity and high-value agricultural land. So for Malaysia's part, so Malaysia is recognized as one of the 12 megadiverse countries in the world. Both the beach and mangrove ecosystems boast a distinct, unique, and spectacular biodiversity and provide a broad range of ecological services to provide critical habitat for reptilian, crustacean, mollusk, and fish species. So Malaysia's biodiversity accounts at a high fauna diversity with 307 species of wild mammals, more than 785 species of birds, 567 species of reptiles, 242 species of amphibians, more than 449 species of freshwater fish, and more than 150,000 estimated species of invertebrates. So Some examples of Malaysian species. So for mammals, there's the Malayan tapir, the largest of the 4 widely recognized species of tapir and the only one native to the Old World. So an example for birds also is the crested Argus pheasant, which can only be found in peninsular Malaysia mountains. It is an important part of the country's natural heritage. There's also for example, for reptiles is the Dumeril's monitor. It is a species of lizard endemic to Southeast Asia. Another example for amphibians is the Malaysian frog, also known as the Malaysian river frog in the Dicrobulosidae species, which is found on the Malay Peninsula. Then for freshwater fish, there's the Siamese fighting fish, commonly known as the betta, native to Southeast Asia. And for invertebrates, there's the Raja Brooks birdwing, a birdwing butterfly from the rainforests of the Thai Malay Peninsula. It was named after James Brooke, the Raja of Sarawak, by a naturalist in 1855. So, protecting biodiversity in Malaysia. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, more than 27,000 species of flora and fauna are threatened with extinction. Scientists have predicted that the world could lose up to 30% to 50% of species by the middle of 21st century. The Sunda pangolin, the one in the picture, are under threat because of human appetites. Scaled animals have their populations thinned due to extensive poaching. The illegal trade of their scales and meat is especially huge in China and Vietnam. Then there's the endangered Tapanuli orangutan population. Its population is under threat of extinction because of a proposed development of a hydroelectric dam miles away. But some organizations refuse to accept the fate of these animals, so they are taking a direct approach to combat immediate threats, like the Global Coalition to End Wildlife Trafficking Online. The Muda Land is one of the organizations in Malaysia that are adopting solutions that is focusing its energy on creating a long-term solution that promotes biodiversity in townships. They ensure that endangered animals and plants are protected through biodiversity policy that serves as the overarching guidelines for their design and management. There's the Malayan flying lemur, a rare species that is under threat due to deforestation and a loss of its natural habitat has now found its home because of the Muda Land's help. There's the chestnut-bellied malkoha, the picture on the right. It is a bird species that is known for its long-tailed gray head and light-colored bill. They are facing a declining population due to peat fires and forest degradation. Thankfully, they can soar freely with the Gamuda initiative. Efforts from initiatives like this teach an important lesson to other companies around the world. The world's flora and fauna may be facing challenges, but humans can do their part to help them thrive. So, for specialty, I will now pass the time to Jessie for our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vida. So now I would like to present the specialties, which is the national animals, bird, as well as plants of Australia and Malaysia. First, the national animal of Australia is red kangaroo, and the name kangaroo is derived from the word Kangaroo. It is named by Guga Yimitil people of far north Queensland. Meanwhile, the national animal of Malaysia is the Malayan tiger. It is also known as Panthera tigris jacksoni and Panthera tigris malayensis. Local call it as harimau or bat belang, which means ankle stripes. In Australia, kangaroo is chosen to be their national animal just because kangaroo can't walk backward. It then symbolizes the determination of Australia to move forwards. While in Malaysia, tiger is chosen as our national animal just because it symbolizes courage and strength of Malaysians. And so, Australia's 50-cent coin has pictured a shoe that is held up by a kangaroo and an emu. Emu is Australia's national bird, and I will present it later. While in Malaysia, tiger is adopted in the logo of Proton, which is our national car, Malaysia football teams, and Maybank. Next, the national bird of Australia is emu, which I have mentioned earlier. Emu is a flightless bird. It is also considered as the second biggest bird on Earth. The reason why emu is chosen just because it can move backward too. While the national bird of Malaysia is Rhinoceros hornbill, it is also considered as Sarawak state bird. As we can see, emu not only appears on Australia's 50 cents coin, but also appears on Australia's postage stamps, while in Malaysia's Rhinoceros hornbill appears on 5 ringgit Malaysia's banknote. Moving on, Australia's national flower is the golden water. It is a symbol of unity. It can resilient to drought, strong winds, and bushfire, which then represents the spirit of Australians. While in Malaysia, hibiscus is our national flower. It is chosen by our first Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman because of its color red that symbolizes the bravery and rapid growth of the citizens. The 5 petals then represent the 5 national principles in Rukun Negara. In Australia, they celebrate National Water Days on the 1st of September annually, and the purpose is to promote and enhance patriotism among the Australians. They are encouraged to wear water blossoms along the celebration too. Besides that, the uniform of Australian sport team is usually in green and yellow color, which is taken from the color of golden water. While in Malaysia, there are many types of colors and shapes of hibiscus. They then signifies the multicultural societies in Malaysia, like Malay, Indians, and Chinese. Secondly, hibiscus is also introduced on every Malaysian's coins and banknotes. And that's all from our presentations. And here are three questions for you to answer. So the first, why peaches plant is endangered in Malaysia? The second, why is Malaysia considered as a mega diverse country? And the third one, when is the National Water Day celebrated? For the first questions, anyone wants to answer? How about the second one and the third one? If no, I will just share the answers. Okay, so
let me try.
Okay.
For the number one, I think it's because of loss of habitat, and then people like to pick the picture for the food, for cooking food.
Yeah, it's correct. So so I just continue with the answers. So the answers is like what Sir have said. It is due to the natural and human factors. For example, like bushfires in the dry season. So it can destroy the peaches plant as well as their habitats, and because most of them are mostly grow in low-lying areas. And the second one is the Malaysian ecosystem boasts a distinct, unique, and spectacular biodiversities, and then provide ecological service to provide critical habitat for the species. And the last one, the National Water Day is celebrated on the 1st of the September annually, which is the official start of Australian Springs. And yeah, that's all from our group. Thank you for your listening.
All right. So far so good. I really enjoy the presentation. I also hope that not only me, it's you also should learn something from this topic. Okay. So shall we continue, or we need to take a quick break?
Can we take a break, sir?
Okay, 5 minutes. Then we can continue back with the last topic.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome. All right. So how are we doing now? Hope you guys are doing okay. If you are okay, then let's continue with our next topic presentation. So the next topic is regarding the heat, right? Heat and thermal comfort. Again, this is based on set of the country that you choose. Okay, then we shall study from there. All right, so we start with group Benjamin and Yusuf, and also Tariq.
Hi, sir. Sorry. Tariq, he's actually he's right now at the toilet. He has stomach ache. Yeah, he's the one controlling the slide. So sorry, sir.
All right. Let's start with Xiaopan's group, so we don't have to wait too long.
Okay, give me a moment. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to our lecturer. Here I'm Mohammed Faris, and to all my fellow beloved classmates. So today now I'm going to present this part is heat and thermal comfort between UK and Malaysia. Next. Okay, so first thing first, what is thermal comfort? So thermal comfort is the condition of mind that expresses the satisfaction with the thermal environment and is assessed by subjective. The human body can be viewed as a heat engine where food is input energy. The human body will release excess heat into the environment so the body can continue to operate. The heat transfer is proportional to temperature difference. In cold environment, the body loses more heat and to the environment, and in hot environment, the body does not release enough heat. Both the hot and cold scenario lead to discomfort. So now we're going to jump to the thermal comfort in Malaysia. So in October 2019, the record temperature of 39 degrees Celsius was recorded here in Malaysia. The hottest summer from July to September, based on all 16 weather stations in Malaysia, was recorded in 2019 with an average temperature of 37.9 degrees Celsius. This average temperature will normally be measured every 4 to 6 hours, thus also including the night. Normally, this value is 27.2 degrees Celsius at night. So the average maximum daily temperature at that time was 32.5 degrees Celsius. So the coldest day in these 61 years was reported by the weather station in Kota Baru. Here, the temperature dropped to 12.8 degrees Celsius in February 1999. So Kota Baru lies at an altitude of 5 meters above sea level. The coldest winter, January to March, was in 1976 with an average temperature of 25.5 degrees Celsius. In Malaysia, it is usual to have about 1.3 degrees Celsius more at 26.8 degrees Celsius for this 3-month period. So, the thermal comfort in Malaysia houses found that the maximum comfort is at an effective temperature of between 26.7 degrees to 27.2 degrees, and temperature range at between 26.1 degrees to 27.8 degrees. When the change of temperature exceeds 2.0 degrees,
from the optimal level, the discomfort will then be experienced individual. Optimal condition, in fact, half an hour after midnight at 7:30 a.m. So this is the example of it at the location, Kuala Lumpur. So the maximum exterior design temperature is at 35 degrees. And so the interior design temperature is at 24 degrees, 50% relative humidity. So
Good.
on a few neighborhoods under the Kajang Municipal Council preview that includes Section 1 and 2 of Bandar Baru Bangi, Kajang Utama, Bukit Mewah, and Taman Sentosa. The inside temperature, the houses is between 23 degrees Celsius to 31 degrees Celsius, while the relative humidity obtained for all type of houses are high, which is between 51 degrees Celsius at 51% to 90%. The bungalow are the most comfortable houses with the thermal condition recorded at 23 degrees to 28 degrees, and relatively humidity of 65% to 70%. Flat are the most uncomfortable with a thermal condition recorded at 24 degrees to 32 degrees, and relatively humidity of 51 degrees to 59 degrees. Nevertheless, as a whole, beside bungalow being in a normal condition in the morning, the residence of many people in the Kajang Municipal was found to be uncomfortable. So this is the chart of the morning, afternoon, evening, and night of each bungalow, single-story terrace, double-story terrace, and apartment and flat. So you see here, currently that on the morning side, that the bungalow have the higher temperature is in around 26 degrees of that. Yeah. So in the afternoon, the higher is at the single-story terrace, and in the evening, the higher is the bungalow, and at night, the temperature will increase in the apartment side.
I think the bungalow is dark blue and then flat is the light blue. From what I can see from here lah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my eyes. Yeah. The flat, the flat. Oh, the flat is higher in the morning, and in the night. So yeah. So fun fact: in 2020, approximately 1.91 million of air conditioning units were produced in Malaysia. So the reason why the production of the air conditioning is so high is because Malaysia is a very hot and humidity country. So yeah. So next, now is about the thermal comfort in United Kingdom. Yeah. Each of the climate has its own temperature in all this in UK. So there has 4 seasons. Winter is on December and February. Autumn is on September and November. Spring is on March and May. And summer is on June and August. So I'm talking about the summer of the 4 seasons, summer. Climatic difference at this time of year are more influenced by latitude and proximity to the ocean. Temperature and the highest in southern or the central areas and lowest in the north. So hot weather above 27 degrees Celsius is most places and in most years occur on multiple days per year, but more frequently in London and Southeast England, where temperature was exceeds 30 degrees Celsius, and less so in part of Scotland. The record of maximum heat they got is 38.7 degrees Celsius, recorded in Cambridge on 25 July 2019. So next. So in the spring, early spring can be quite cold. Occasionally, the lowest temperature of the winter that appeared in March as is at Heathrow Airport on 5 March 2001, 4 March 2006, and 8 March 2011. The temperature below freezing are unusually in March, even in the south of the UK. On the other hand, high temperature above 30 degrees Celsius are generally rare, but can occur on occasion. Most recently, on 25 May 2012, it was even hotter on 27 May 2005, when 21.9 degrees Celsius was recorded in London. In Aberdeen, the hottest day of 2011 was very early on the year on 21 April. So the temperature in March seldom reached 20 degrees Celsius. So as I can say here, the 1990s to 2007, and this temperature is usually reached the first time in April and May. Throughout spring, there was been a large temperature swing between day and night. So on 9 April 2017, nighttime temperature fell to just 3 degrees Celsius at Norfolk, but 25 degrees Celsius was reached in the afternoon. Warmth in spring depends almost entirely on the strength of the sun and can trigger thunderstorm and downpour. Okay, next. So, in other words, fun fact, why in summer times, right? Every time in summer, we always think about heat. So heat means we all need air conditioning, but almost 0.5% of the citizens in the UK doesn't install air conditioning in their houses. Anyway, yeah, sorry, right?
So what does it mean?
Oh, wrong. Sorry, almost 0.5% of the citizens in UK install air conditioning in their houses. I read wrongly there. So why does it mean?
Install.
They does install. I didn't write doesn't install. They install. Why only 0.5 and the others 95%? 99.5% didn't install air conditioning because they tend to have the climate where they need heat rather than cooling. So the home are designed all central heating because in UK the weather is always very cold all the time. Like as I said, in the spring they didn't have really hot weather at all at that day. They have seldom. So they rather they have the heat than install air conditioning. So the humidity is really higher than 70%. So they really rather have the heat than the cooling system in their house. So continually in autumn, the season may be a little more unsettled as cold polar air moves southward. It can meet warm air from the tropic and produce an area disturbed along which the country lies. This can combine with the warm ocean due to heating throughout the spring and summer to produce some unsettled weather. In addition, the land may be colder than the ocean, resulting in significant amount of condensation and rain-bearing clouds. The United Kingdom sometimes experiences an Indian summer, when temperature, particularly by night, can be very mild and rarely fall below 10 degrees Celsius. Such events are aided by the surrounding Atlantic Ocean and seas being at their warmest, keeping the country in warm air. Despite the relatively weak sun, UK has seen some of the wettest and driest autumn in the millennium. 2011 and 2016 were notable as many areas of the country recorded their high temperature of the year in September and October. For example, 28.2 degrees Celsius in Howden on 1 October, 26.3 degrees Celsius at Eton on 2 October 2011, and the UK highest temperature of 2016 on 13 September with 34.4 degrees Celsius at Gravesend. So moving on to winter, the season is generally cool, wet, windy and cloudy. Temperature at night rarely drop below 10 degrees Celsius and in the day rarely rise above 15 degrees Celsius. Precipitation can be plentiful throughout the season, though snow is relatively infrequent despite the country at high latitude. So for majority of the UK, snow frequently is winter time yet unusually light and doesn't last long. And apart from the higher altitude, where snow can lie for 1 to 5 months or even beyond 6 months. So the coldest area that the mountain that are the UK at mountains of Wales and northern England and inland areas of Scotland average -3.6 to 2.3 degrees Celsius. Coastal area, particularly those south and west, experience mild winter and average 5 to 8.7 degrees Celsius. So next. So in this autumn and winter, fun fact, in autumn and winter season, 95% of the UK citizens usually use radiator to warm themselves. Those radiator uses water to radiate heat, and a lot of it, usually about 25 liters worth, making them extremely heavy. The central heating radiator were heated by water which travel through a gas boiler. So the UK usually using a radiator more than using air conditioning, heating for them or cooling for them. So in other words, radiator is very important to them in their lifestyle. So meanwhile, in the winter time, about 10% of UK home, 2.5 million, are using open fireplace to warm themselves. But why is only 10%? Because the reason they only have 10% because they are scared. Because in UK laws, they said open fireplace is almost forbidden because a lot of them can cause open burning like that because of the smoke. So a lot of them have get wrong about it because they can use other method like burning, like using electric fireplace and everything. So a lot of them don't dare to install fireplace or open fireplace or anything because of the law. So yeah, that's all for me. So question time. Ignore the first and second question. So the third and fourth, why UK citizens don't use air conditioning on summer season? Anyone?
Come on, guys, be a little bit more sporting. You know, I just want to make the class a little bit more fun.
Anyone?
It's because it's still too cold for even in the summer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Can say that because usually the summertime there is not really hot, so they rather to get the heat than cooling themselves inside the house. So they usually doing that. Okay. Thanks, thanks, lecturer Faris. So question 4. Oh, question 4. What is the maximum comfort
maximum comfort temperature
in Malaysia?
I think it's 26.2, right?
Yeah, 26.7.
I see. 26.
Yeah, to 27.2. So
Close enough.
yes, but still almost still the temperature is close. Yeah. So that's all for me for the presentation. Thank you.
Welcome. Interesting to know about the UK climate. Interesting. All right, good. Okay. Let me, before we continue, all right. So the Benjamin's group is. Are you guys ready now?
Yes,
We
sir,
need
we're
more
ready.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
So we go back to your group for presentation.
Okay. All right, so can I start now?
Yes, Ken.
All right, thank you. So, good afternoon again to Architect Faris and my fellow coursemates. We're back, your favorite team. My name is Ben, and we have Tariq and Yusuf in my team. So now we will be presenting the heat and thermal comfort in the United States and Malaysia, as well as the regional cuisines found in the United States and Malaysia. So let me begin by talking about the temperature in the United States. So again, this relates back to the climate that can be found in the United States. So firstly, as mentioned before, the landmass of the United States consists of different latitudinal regions and geographical features and different locations throughout the North American continent, as well as the Pacific territories have different climates. These include, again, as previously mentioned, the tropical, subtropical, desert, Mediterranean, temperate, continental, and oceanic. And each climate has its own specific range of temperature, which can either be consistent throughout the year or inconsistent throughout the year, depending on whether if those climates are affected by the 4 seasons. So those 4 seasons are winter, spring, summer, and autumn. Now, the climates that are affected by 4 seasons include temperate climate, humid continental climate, oceanic climate. Now, in these 3 climates, this is sort of like the general timeline. So winter happens in December, January, and February. After that, we move on to spring, which begins in March and ends in May. After that, it's followed by summer. That happens in June, July, and August. And then lastly, we have autumn. That is from September to October and November. And the climates that are not affected by 4 seasons, or they are usually not affected, are desert climate, tropical and subtropical climate, and Mediterranean climate. While there might be some temperature variation in these climates, but they're generally not considered to be affected because they don't see any major changes. Now, let me talk about, just briefly discuss about some of the climates before we talk about the our thermal regulation system and thermal comfort. So firstly, in temperate climate, the temperature range is between a negative, sorry, the slide. Yes, okay, so the temperature range is between -4 degrees Celsius during a cold winter, and at the highest end is 32 degrees Celsius during hot summer. And temperate climate, you can see some of those maps we've provided. These regions are the ones known for this type of climate, and these include the Great Plains, which is the first one, the first map you can see with those orange region. Tariq, would you mind? Yeah. And then after that, we have the lower Midwest. That is the one with the light blue. You can see those regions over there. And then after that, we have the East Coast of the United States. And yeah, look at that dark blue. That's where, you know, New York and all those very advanced, developed cities are. All right. So let me pass on my presentation to our next presenter, Tariq. Tariq, take it away.
Okay, unmute. Is it mute?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Can listen.
Oh, okay. Hi and good afternoon to Architect Faris, okay, and my fellow classmates. I'll be talking about the heat in the humid continental climate of Okay, these are the regions of heat in the humid continental climate in the United States. In the first image, we can see the north central states, which consist of the state of Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Ohio, South Dakota, and I think, yeah, Wisconsin. And then on the second image, which is the New England area, which consists of the state of Maine, New Hampshire, that one would be Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And then on the third image, which consists of the Great Plains, that would be Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, and that would be Wyoming. So the temperature in this area ranges from negative during cold winters and 27 degrees Celsius during hot summers. Okay, so moving on to the next part of the presentation, which is heat in the humid oceanic climate of the United States. So these are the regions of heat in the humid oceanic climate in the United States. The first image is the image of the state of Alaska. Is the Pacific Northwest states, which are Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. So in this region, the temperature ranges from -1 degree Celsius during cold winters and 26 degrees Celsius during hot summers. In Alaska, however, the temperature ranges between -35 degrees Celsius at the lowest and 15 degrees Celsius. So that is all from me for now. I will pass the next part of the presentation to Yusuf.
Thank you, Tarek. So I'll be talking about the heat in the humid desert climate in the United States. First, these are the regions where there's desert climate in the United States of America: Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. They are mostly located in the southwestern region in the United States of America. They have a temperature range from 10 degrees Celsius up to 52 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now, I'll also be talking about the heat in the tropical and subtropical climate in the United States. So the regions where there's tropical, like when there's heat in the tropical, subtropical climate, are the southern parts of Florida and the South Atlantic states, and also in the Gulf Coast states and the Pacific territories. And there's also the heat climate around the Caribbean territories. The temperature range for these tropical climates is always from 10 degrees to 32 degrees Celsius, and for the subtropical climate, it's from 7 degrees to 22 degrees Celsius. Okay, and now we're going back to Benjamin.
All right, so now I'll be talking about the heat in Mediterranean climate. So the Mediterranean climate is situated in the state of California, mainly in the northern part, because the southern part is more towards the subtropical climate. So in this region, you can see that the temperature ranges between 10 degrees Celsius and 27 degrees Celsius. Now that's the map you can take a look of California. Now, all right, so now let me talk about the thermal regulation used in the United States. So houses and commercial buildings built in regions that are affected by the 4 seasons are often equipped with proper heating and cooling mechanisms to provide thermal comfort during extreme temperatures, so that these systems actually help those building occupants to adapt their body to different weathering conditions. Like during really cold winters, they can still stay comfortable, stay warm. During hot summers, they wouldn't die from, heat stroke. Okay, so firstly, one of the commonly used thermoregulation system is furnace. And this device functions by channeling warm air to the interior of the house to increase the internal temperature during cold winters. And it can be powered by either gas, fuel, or even electricity. And as you can see, this is a picture of a gas furnace. Afterwards, we have a boiler. Now, boiler is actually common in most countries. In fact, it doesn't have to be just places that are cold or affected by four seasons. Even in hotter regions, you can also have boilers, because boilers, they are used to heat up water for domestic uses, mainly for showers and baths, because when we shower, we need warm water, right? That's how our body temperature adapts to. Our body is supposed to be our body is supposed to feel more comfortable when we are showered in warm water. But of course, not during very hot days. Now, boilers or hot water, how do I say this? Bath boilers or water boilers, they're typically used during autumn and winter, where the temperature of water falls below the comfortable range in the United States. Because in certain regions, you can see during summer, their temperature actually reaches really high, up to 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. And it's in those extremes cases where they don't need to use boilers for their shower. Now, next we have heat pumps. Now, there are several types of heat pumps. The one we have here, the picture, you can see that is a air source heat pumps. This heat pump uses outside air for both heat source during winter and heat sink during summer, which means during winter, this heat pump serves as a sort of a heater. It provides warm air to the interior of the house. And during summer, it acts as an air conditioner. It provides cold air by extracting surrounding air from the outside of the house. And then another one, we have ground source heat pumps, which utilizes heat from the underground to warm up the interior of the house during winter. Now, a ground source heat pump is a bit more efficient than air source heat pumps during cold temperature, because in cold temperature, the temperature below the ground surface is usually more consistently warm, so that when the ground source heat pumps wants to sort of provide warmth to the interior of the house, it can easily extract more heat. It can harvest or harness more heat from underground than by using the surrounding air, because during cold temperatures, the air is, of course, cold. Now, the next thermoregulation system is space heater. Now, space heater is a device used for supplying heat to a small area inside a house, usually used for a single bedroom or bathroom. And it can either be wall-mounted or freestanding. And the freestanding space heaters are actually portable. Now, there are two types of space heater. They are called the gas-fired space heater, which is the yellow cylindrical one you can see there. And then the next one is an electric space heater, which is that rectangular cuboid shape. Next, we have pellet stove. Now, pellet stove, it looks like a fireplace, but it does not need a chimney. And it's usually a lot smaller, and it burns either compressed wood or biomass pellets to supply heat to residential or industrial places. But unlike fireplaces, it also, unlike many other sort of thermoregulators, it doesn't provide as much heat. It's in that it's not as efficient. Now, that concludes my part of the presentation. Let us move on to Tariq's part. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tariq, and I will continue. Fireplace. Fireplace acts as a direct source, but is generally regarded as a less effective than other heating components. Fireplace requires a chimney to channel out the byproduct, which are smoke and soot of the burning flame. Fireplace is usually built in the living room and often considered as part of the living room's decor. There are fireplace, which are wood fireplace and gas fireplace. Central air conditioner. Central air conditioner consists of a large compressor unit located outside the house or a building and a coil filled with refrigerant. Central air conditioner cools air that is distributed throughout the house to cool down the internal temperature. So this is an image of a central air conditioner. Room air conditioner. Room air conditioners are usually wall-mounted. Room air conditioner consists of a compressor that is located outside the house and a cooling unit inside the house. Room air conditioner is mainly used for supplying cool air to a single room or a living room. So these are the images of the two types of air conditioners. The top one is somewhat kind of like a portable air conditioner, and the second image would be wall-mounted air conditioner. Evaporative coolers. Pull fresh air from outside the house and cools down the air through evaporation before channeling it into the interior. The evaporative coolers is suitable for dry areas like the southwest of the United States. So this is the image of evaporative cooler. Okay. Houses in the desert climate, Mediterranean climate, tropical climate, and the subtropical climate are often not equipped with heating systems as temperature is largely warm throughout the year. The cooling systems can be employed in the temperate climate, tropical climate, and desert climate, especially where temperatures can be uncomfortably high time of the year. So moving on to the comparison of heat and thermal comfort between the United States and Malaysia. So we will start with the similarities. So the use of cooling systems such as air conditioners are common in both America and Malaysia. Ventilation systems are used in both residential and commercial. Natural ventilation including cross ventilation, stacked ventilation, top-down ventilation, and single-side ventilation. Artificial ventilation like exhaust ventilation, supply ventilation, and balance ventilation. So this is an image of exhaust ventilation, supply ventilation, and so basically the exhaust ventilation works by exhausting air from inside of the house towards the outside top of the house. And then the supply ventilation works by inserting fresh air from outside of the house, from the top, into the inside of the house. And then the balanced ventilation uses balanced ventilation uses both the exhaust and supply ventilation, which inserts fresh air from outside of the house and exhausts air to the outside of the house. So the use of exhaust fans in kitchens to lower the interior temperature. Oh, okay. The use of exhaust fans in kitchens to lower the interior temperature when cooking. That would be the example of exhaust ventilation. So moving on to the differences of Malaysia and the United States. So in Malaysia is not affected by the 4 seasons, and the temperatures remain throughout the year, ranging between 21 degrees Celsius and 32 degrees Celsius. While in the United States, some parts of the country are affected by 4 seasons, and temperature varies according to the latitude of the regions. In Malaysia, temperature does not fluctuate drastically throughout the year, while in the USA, the temperature in certain regions may fluctuate drastically throughout. In Malaysia, only cooling systems are employed, mostly room air conditioners, while in the United States, both heating and cooling systems may be employed depending on the region and the climate. So that is all from me for now. I'll pass back the presentation to Yusuf.
So the next part of the presentation is all about food. So first we're going to be talking about the famous dishes in the United States of America. What makes a dish American? Almost all of the popular dishes that you think are made in the US, like apple pies, hot dogs, hamburgers, pizzas, tacos, watermelon, actually originated from other countries. Colonists, settlers, and immigrants brought their ingredients and recipes to our shores, to the US shores. Although native elements play an important role, they do not give the whole tale. Many New World dishes came to the United States actually via Europe. Now we're going to talk about what American dishes. Like they can be categorized into 6 different categories. First, foods from the area, like beans, like corn, squash. These are also the 3 sisters among the and the American bison are among the plants. Nuts, animals, and fish are native to North America. There were also old world variations of some of these dishes, like strawberries, Scottish corn cakes, and baked squash were among the indigenous food. Okay, so right away here's like a picture of the common ingredients used in the United States of America. You got corn, you got the cauliflower, and the next thing is the hybrid meals, which are old world recipes that have been modified to use new world elements, like cornbread, for example. Look at that, looks delicious. That's a Southern style cheese cornbread. And these chicken and waffles. Yeah, that's a American dish.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, I know. The third one is the ethnic blends, which are foods mixed when people from different cultures, cuisines dwell in the same area. Chop soy, for example. Here's the chop soy. And the general Sasu chicken. Another American. Okay. And the fourth category is specialists from different parts of the country. Like different parts of the countries all make the same, like work on the same dish. The American melting pot elicits a distinct sense of place, like Tex-Mex, for example.
Okay.
Okay. And the fifth category are food fads and generic traditions. Like these objects have a long history dating back to the Middle Ages, like corn dogs, Chex Mix, and Rice Krispies sweets are among examples. Here's a picture of corn dogs. And the sixth category are made to order things. Items where foreign countries are often associated with the United States. Here, like sky's the limit. Like you got moon pies, Kool-Aid, Jellos, Kraft macaroni and cheese dinners, TV dinners, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Hershey bars. And there's a few pictures of moon pies, Hershey chocolates, McDonald's. Okay, now for the next part, I'll be comparing the United States and the American cuisine. I mean, the United States and the Malaysian cuisine. Now, Malaysians love their salty fish because, like Malaysian, can you go up, please? Sorry, because Malaysia is surrounded by water. It's no wonder that Malay people were mostly fishermen. People back then, like they didn't have fridges or feeders, so they had to find a way to preserve their food. So something that they used to do is they used to salt and dry the fish. Others are cured and salted to be fried as crackers, and still others are served as sauce. Like there's many options. Malaysians continue to eat a variety of salted seafood in their meals to this day. Like they just adopted it to new new dishes. You know what I mean? Like to match our time. Unlike in the U.S., where they prefer their fatty food, with usually beef or chicken as the key ingredients. However, like the most key ingredient that the U.S. uses is butter. Some notable foods originated in Malaysia include nasi lemak, ayam perik, nasi parbu, roti canai, rendang, abam. You got that right? Rendang, apam balik. But I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Dok Puchi, Riburing Mamak, and many more. All right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and here's pictures of your nasi lemaks, your roti canais, your apam balik. Look delicious.
Yusuf, are you in Malaysia or still in your country?
I've been in Malaysia since 2018.
2018, I see.
Like I've eaten all these dishes already like 100 times.
Interesting. That's good.
All right, cool. Moving on.
Yep.
Actually, that concludes our action of our questions now.
So I will begin with our first question.
Okay.
So, can anyone tell me what is the temperature range in the desert climate?
Desert climate. Oh, interesting.
That's right, very interesting. Anyone notice that?
It's very, very high in terms of difference.
Yes, very high, very wide range.
Yes.
Anyone want to try?
Minus 18 to 40 something. 52 Celsius. Almost.
Actually, it can go below 0 degrees C sometimes, but this is sort of the average.
I see.
Average range, yeah. It can go below 0 degree once in a while. All right, so the next question, Yusuf.
Question. Best types of air conditioning systems found in the U.S. Anyone know?
Air conditioning. One that I remember is the furnace, but that's not conditioning. Is it considered as conditioning?
What?
The furnace and the radiator.
let's see the answer. It's actually compressor located outside the house and the cooling unit inside the house. Good guess, though. All right. Last one, Tariq.
Okay.
Okay, so
Oh, it's already come out.
give us an example. Whoa. Give us an example of an ethnic blended food found in the US.
It's already, you shown already the answer, man.
Oh my god. Okay, chopped, sweet, and General Tso's chicken. So yeah, I guess that is all from us. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt for a second. A correction to the second question. The two types of air conditioner include central air conditioner and room air conditioner. Okay, that's it.
That's the thing. Conditioning is something that is not the term is actually for, okay, the conditioning is to give comfort temperature, right?
Yeah.
It is supposed to be like that. So
Yeah.
when it is hot, you need cooler air, but when it is cold, you need warm air. So conditioning system can be, yeah, it should be different answers. If I, yeah.
Oh, so
if
it
I,
can. Oh, I see. So it can be for both heater and cooler as well, right?
yes, but probably when it is termed as conditioning, many refers to the cooling system. Then when you are want to use the hot air, then you are used as the heater as term, probably using different term.
All right. Thank you, sir. Understand.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, these some fun facts is actually interesting. When you are listening to this, sometimes it may bore you with these too many facts. So when you putting in some fun facts can be interesting, right? Okay, so there's a lot of things we learned today, especially coming from the American teams. You
Thank
have,
you, sir.
you know, the country is very big, so you have to give a very full coverage of the what you are covering. So many.
Yep.
So that's before it's too late. Got to continue to the next one. Then we can call it a day. All right. Can we continue to the third group?
Okay, good afternoon again, fellow classmates and architect Paris.
Yeah.
So, when Jesse and I will heat and thermal comfort in Malaysia and Australia. First, for Australia, the hottest temperature recorded is 50.7 degrees Celsius or 123.3 degrees Fahrenheit. It was recorded on January 2, 1960 in Untitled, South Australia. While in Malaysia, the heat index is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. The hottest temperature recorded was 40 degrees Celsius or 104.2 degrees Fahrenheit on April 9, 1998, when the strongest El Nino hit the country. So we will be reporting the 6 primary comfort variables. First one, air temperature. In Australia, a typical Australian commercial stipulates indoor air temperatures is 20 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. If the indoor temperature is higher than 24 degrees Celsius during summer, the landlord may run the risk of incurring penalties. For Malaysia, according to the Department of Standards Malaysia, for Malaysian climate, 23 degrees Celsius to 26 degrees Celsius is the recommended indoor air temperature for a standard indoor environment design. So the lower air temperature in Malaysia is 26 degrees Celsius, while the upper air temperature is 23 degrees Celsius. So for the second one, mean radiant temperature. So the mean radiant temperature is the average temperature of all surfaces that surround an occupant. Heat-producing sources include sun, fire, oven, and etc. Warm objects usually radiate heat toward cold ones. So for example, when the sun shines on a particular area, the MRT or the mean radiant temperature of the place will increase then. Other studies on the comfort temperature in the tropical region is higher than other climate regions. So for the comfort band for Malaysia for all building types is between 23.6 degrees Celsius and 28.6 degrees Celsius. So the third comfort factor is air velocity. For Australia, the annual wind speed varies in different places. According to Bonzel Digital Atlas, the windiest place in Australia is Port Washington. Its annual wind speed at 3 p.m. is 52.6 km per hour. However, in Malaysia's mean annual wind speed is 1.8 miles per second. However, towns in the east coast of peninsular Malaysia, such as Mersing, Kota Baharu, and Kuala Terengganu, experience stronger winds. For these places, their mean monthly wind speed would exceed 3 miles per second. So here is the data chart for the wind speed. So for the first chart, it is the mean morning and afternoon wind speed in Australia, specifically in Port Washington. So it is different during morning and afternoon. Well, the second chart is the monthly average wind speed in Malaysia. And then for the remaining factors, I will now pass the presentation to Jessie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vida. So the fourth comfort variable is relative humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapors in the atmosphere, while relative humidity is directly linked to both the humidity ratio, which is moisture content, as well as dry bulb temperature that expressed in percentage of moisture in the air. So in Australia, the humidity is vary in different places, and here are two main places in Australia, which are Sydney and Canberra. In Sydney, February is the most humid and August is the least humid. Average humidity in Sydney would be 57%, while in Canberra, July is the most humid, while December is the less humid. Average humidity in Canberra is 66%. And here's the chart that shows the average relative humidity in Canberra, Australia. As you can see, the humidity is different in different months. In Malaysia, December is the most humid and July is the least humid. Average humidity in Malaysia is 80%. And here's the chart that shows relative humidity data from Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur. As you can see, it exceeds 80% in every month. And so Malaysians are easily sweaty once they do some physical activities because the sweat is unable to evaporate and then causes sticky feelings on skins. Next, clothing insulations. According to oski.com.au, the clothing insulation needed is subjective. In other words, it is based on person's own feelings rather than facts. And the ideal but not the actual standard would be 50 to 100 GSM for warmer conditions and 100 to 200 GSM for colder condition. And the GSM here is stand for the grams of insulation per square meters. The insulation of clothes can be measured in the unit of CLO, where 1 CLO is equals to 0.155 meter square Kelvin per watt. According to the study conducted in 2013 in the working environments, the value of clothing insulation was 0.8 CLO for short sleeve and light working trousers, and 1.1 CLO for long sleeve, and the last one is 0.75 CLO for the underpants, shirts, trousers, socks, and shoes. And here are some pictures regarding the summers and winter clothing. Moving on, the last comfort variables is metabolic rate. It is very depending on the activities levels and involved, as well as the physical characteristics such as size, age, weight, genders, and fitness level. It is measured in the unit of MET, which is 1 MET is equal to 58 watt per square meters. For example, 116 watt per square meters is used for heavy activities and moderate activities, while 93 watt per square meters is used for light industry and minimal activity. And that's all from my part, and I would like to pass this to Cheng Wen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, JC. So now I'm gonna talk about the specialty in Australia and Malaysia. So first we'll talk about the tallest building in each country. So in Australia, the tallest building is Q1 Tower and is located in Queensland, Gold Coast, Australia, and is having 77 layers and is also known as the 11th tallest residential skyscraper in the world. So beside in Malaysia, the tallest building is Petronas Twin Tower and is located in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and is also the tallest twin building in the world. And it still remains the tallest building in Malaysia until the completion of the Merdeka PNB 118, which is expected to be complete in 2022. So
Actually,
next,
already surpassed. PNB 118 already surpassed the height. Although it's not complete, but it's already taller based on the construction. At current construction, they are already taller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you didn't mention the height.
And second, the Sydney Opera House in Australia, which is located on the banks of the Sydney Harbour. And this building is often regarded as one of the world's most famous buildings. So while in Malaysia, the Christ Church, which is located in Malacca, this is the oldest functioning Protestant church in Malaysia. So that's all. So here's a question. So first question will be, what is the hottest temperature record in Australia and where is it? And second question, which factor is relative humidity also related to? And the last question will be, what is the tallest building in Australia?
Come on guys. Takkan I seorang je jawab.
Is it 50.7 degrees Celsius?
Yes, that's correct.
And where is it?
South Australia.
Is it south?
Yeah, it is located at the South Australia, and its name is Odanata in South Australia.
All right. Next. Factors. What are the factors of relative humidity? One of the factors would be the distance from the sea. Right? Wrong? What happened? Is it froze? Hello. Hi.
For your answer is relative humidity is linked to the humidity ratios, or we call it as moisture content and dry bulb temperature.
Okay. So, what about the last question? Come on, guys.
Oh, I want to try.
Huh?
Is it the Q1?
Yes, correct.
Ooh.
The Q1.
Yay, at least you answer on behalf of me. All right, so the whole thing is very interesting, very good. All of you presented well done works. I really impressed with all your works, and what do you use this presentation software? What are you using? What software is that?
Canva software.
Canva.
Yeah, CANVA.
CANVA.
Yeah.
What about others? Benjamin Group?
We use PowerPoint, sir.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, PowerPoint.
The group Fabian?
Yeah, same as PowerPoint.
I see. But Benjamin's group, the way you use the PowerPoint is it doesn't look like PowerPoint.
Oh yeah, I did it actually.
How you do it?
I watched some like tutorials on YouTube, and then I put in Sergey's. I used Sergey
I mean,
logo
you
colors, like the blue, and then match it with mustard.
I see. It's because it looks very different. It doesn't have that PowerPoint feel.
Yeah.
All right. I wish we can have a longer session to discuss further, but we are already exceeding the time of the class. I'm really glad that you are still around and patient to present the whole thing. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed those presentation. Okay, so marks, I'm still process your marks based on this presentation. Don't worry about that. You are all doing great. That's what I want to announce is the next week will be midterm. Is it, or do you feel okay, or you need one more week? Because if next week will be midterm, and the other week, the next 2 weeks from now, would be the submission of the compilation of presentation. The submission of compilation must be submit to me individually. Okay. However, based on SEGI requirement, any kind of assignment not supposed to be more than 25 pages. This is quite new requirement, so we are going to have to abide that. Okay. So the midterm test next week will be exactly during the class hour 3 to 6. 3 hours, right?
3 to 6. Yeah, 3 hours.
Yep. So that will be the time for your for the midterm test, and it will be mix some sketches and also some subjective questions. You know, there is no objective questions. We are in university people now. Objectives are for the schools, you know, high school, not for university. Okay. What are the topics covered? It will be climate, ecology, flora and fauna, and thermal and heat comfort. Yeah. Yep. There will be the topics covered. And some of the questions will be also there are some of the answers in the recorded video that I shared to you. You also can find in other slides. Okay, when you open this Microsoft Teams, you will see files folder, right?
Oh,
sir. Yes, the class material, you have all the topics of we going to learn. So those are the you can find these slides within the slides. Yes, question?
I think I have a problem. I think I haven't been added yet to the Microsoft Teams.
Really?
I think
Then
my email.
Oh yeah, we have 7 only in my kindly send me your email. I will invite you to join the Microsoft Teams group.
Yeah, I just sent it on WhatsApp.
Okay, received.
Segi4u.my.
This can I know this Segi4u.my is under which frame? Is it like Google, Yahoo?
Oh, it's Segi's student email.
Okay, already added you. You can check your email.
Okay.
Once you accept the invitation, then you will be added.
I need to restart.
Yep. So in this environmental science 1 September 2021, there is you can find in the post there are recorded video, and also in the files there are you can find the recordings. All the recordings are there, and then you also can find class material. The class material folder, there will be all the slides that I already presented, and also some of it not yet presented. Okay, so the midterm test is up to the principle of heat, because we only cover to the topic of heat and thermal comfort. Ventilation and air quality, humidity and condensation, not yet, but it will be fully covered in the final exam. Okay, so other than this, you have questions regarding test or class or assignment? So far, so good? Okay. If that all of you are understand, then that would be great. Okay, regarding the test, midterm test, the question will be released in the Microsoft Teams exactly on the time, which is 3 p.m. on Friday, and it will be closed. The exam will only open 3 hours, so it will be closed after that, exactly on 3 hours. After 3 hours, you still can send, but you will mark as late submission. Okay, clear about that?
Yeah, clear.
When you are late submission, there will be penalty. If you have trouble to submit, please let me know before it's too late.
Oh, submit through Microsoft Teams.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It can be done. You can. You will learn more about this in the coming years. You will be using this for the whole degree. All right. Since no more additional questions from all of you, we shall meet again next class during the midterm class exam. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And yes, you are allowed to contact me if you need to know whatever things you want to know, and by only for during the working hours.
Okay, sir.
So don't be shy. You can contact me, ask questions, only for the class or outside of the class, maybe regarding other subjects. I can do my best to answer. Okay. So see you again. Have a good day.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
nice weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
So